Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You're listening to the House of Cards on Facebook, YouTube, and BigPatriotRadio.com. All licenses for music and content have been purchased by and are for the express use of the Big Patriot Radio networks. All information, opinions, and topics are for entertainment purposes and do not expressly represent the opinions of the show's host and or producer. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards, live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down now.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
Welcome in. Good evening. It is good to see you here. You are on Beaufort County's House of Cards. It is September, what is today? The 18th. Let's get some volume fixed here. September the 18th. And wow, 2025. Glad to have you here. We're halfway through September already, and big stories have been going on. My name is Mike Covert. I am your host, and I keep looking over here. There's this bird sitting outside on this bench outside my window who has been staring at me nonstop for the past 10 minutes. It's not a cardinal, so I don't believe it's somebody, from the afterlife, but this is kind of weird. Anyway, we're coming to you live from the Big Patriot Radio studios here in the great state of South Carolina. Glad to have you with us tonight. Welcome on board, everyone watching on Facebook, YouTube, and around the world, simulcasting on BigPatriotRadio.com. Last week, we recognized here on the show the 24th anniversary of 9/11. Unbelievable. It's 24 years ago that this happened. We recognized that again formally last week. And just the day before, we lost a real American hero, Charlie Kirk, as everyone by now certainly has heard. Charlie Kirk of Turning Point USA. Passed away, was murdered on the 10th of September. It's been an interesting week since then, I have to tell you. I've seen and some other folks have said this, but I've seen a sleeping giant, if you will, a sleeping giant awake. And who is that sleeping giant? That many have heard, and you may be asking me, what's sleeping giant? Well, that giant, that bird, that giant is the American family, the institution of family, who is tired of their children being indoctrinated by ludicrous and, quite frankly, demonic people. That giant is the American citizen, the American Christian citizen, who is not afraid any longer of telling the world of their relationship with Jesus and is not going to stand and allow demonic ideologies any longer. That giant is the common sense, everyday American known as Joe and Jane America, who are sick and tired of leftist ideology, tired of having to close their mouths in the fear of hurting the feelings of socialists, Marxists, communists. Yes, all of those giants are done. They're awake. We're done placating to the left, as it were. We're done placating to the mainstream media. And we are done placating to smile, to go along, to get along. No, America was founded upon Judeo-Christian principles, and to those who believe otherwise, I say to you, it may be time for you to either rethink your goals or maybe move somewhere where they can be accepted. And I can't wait, and I hope somebody I haven't taken a look at it, see who's on, but I can't wait for someone, the quote, what about the free speech crowd? To you that fit that cry, that believe all those things that I just said, that we were now awake, that giant, if you fit that cry, maybe you're just an opportunist. And the American citizen, Joe and Jane America, those who believe in Judeo-Christian principles, who aren't going to go along just to get along, those who are tired of feeling like they maybe need to keep their mouth closed so they don't offend someone, we can no longer sit back. Sit back to go along to get along. Life is too precious. Life is too short. Charlie Kirk spoke of and taught many things. This is but one of them. Life is precious. It's too short. Not saying anything just to keep your mouth shut is complicit. We're done. We're not doing that anymore. This week, I've had the opportunity to dispel several folks' thoughts that Charlie was a racist. When I asked them all, I said, quote, why do you think that? Tell me. The normal answer was about DEI and how he hated black, brown, and other races except his own. Those people that have that mentality either were told a lie or they were only told a snippet. They didn't see the whole conversation. So, maybe I was too broad when I began giving the answers to things. So I decided to dumb it down. So those that I talked to, maybe I was getting a little too broad. So I decided, let's bring it back down. Don't need to throw any big words out there. Let's bring it down a notch. Kirk was teaching the youth of America that it is wrong to hire anyone based upon the color of their skin. Is there anyone out there in the sound of my voice that believes it's okay to hire someone because of the color of their skin? I don't believe that. I don't think anyone that I associate with believes that, at least that I know of. And Charlie Kirk certainly didn't believe that you should hire someone based upon the color of their skin. It is wrong, he taught, that it is wrong to promote or demote someone based upon the color of their skin. And to be totally fair, it is wrong to fire someone based upon the color of their skin. Those are my thoughts. That's my beliefs. That was Charlie Kirk's beliefs, in my opinion. And most people, the overwhelming majority that I hang with or know. It is the DEI indoctrination that says, because of my skin color, I should have this. I should be given that. I should be hired for this, et cetera, et cetera. And that is wrong. What's the big deal? Some have even said, what's the big deal? Great question. And I actually have an answer for that. Sometime in the future, within the next, 2 to 5 years, I have a knee replacement probably coming up, more than likely. When I have the doctor do that, now, obviously I have a doctor already, but let's just say I don't. Maybe he's gone. I got to get somebody new. When I have the doctor, when I decide to do that, I want to make sure the surgeon, he or she, is the best one that I can get, that I can pay for, that my insurance can cover. I mean, I want the best possible. Not that he or she is black, white, Asian, Indian, Hispanic, because listen closely, I do not care. As a matter of fact, if I were to go to any doctor and find out that he or she was a DEI hire or a promotion or demotion, but promotion for this argument, I wouldn't hang around. If I got on an airplane tomorrow and found out that the pilot or the co-pilot wasn't hired or promoted because they were an awesome pilot or they scored, awesome, or however they hire pilots based on merit and ability, I'd walk off the damn plane. I don't give a damn what color the pilot is. I don't care if he or she is black, brown, purple, green, has round eyes, slant eyes, squint eyes, just as long as they have eyes. I want someone who is the best they can be. I don't care the color of the pilot. It does not matter. I want them to be the best. I want them to be hired because they're the best applicant. I want them to be promoted because they're the best applicant. So you really have to ask yourself, who are the racists here? The DEI program is, when you think about it, if you think logically, and I have to tell you, obviously, now it may be a misnomer, but to everyone on the screen, I look like a white guy. I might be, I might not be. But let's just say if I were darker pigmentation, black, brown, Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern, whatever, this whole DEI thing, I would be pissed off. I would be pissed off mad. I would want my people, my ethnicity, my race, hired because we're excelling in input job description here. Not because the color of my skin, not because of the melanin, not because of where my ancestors are from, but because I scored better than the guy or gal behind me. That I know when it comes to flying a plane, driving a truck, cutting out a heart and replacing it, fixing an engine in a car, replacing the air conditioning in your house. I want the best I can get for my people and all people. That in and of itself is the most racist thing we as a people can do, is to continue to hire or want to be hired because of the color of our skin. Anyhow, Charlie Kirk had a brilliant message then, and it's even louder now. His killer has been caught, we believe. It's going to be kind of hard to get out of that one. And he's going to have to face the consequences. He's been charged with, 9 or 10 counts. One is aggravated murder. And, personally, from watching the arraignment, I guess is what you call it, or whatever, his pretrial hearings, I fully expect him to be meeting his maker sooner rather than later.
Let's go! The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right. Good to see everybody once again. We're going to get right to it. I got a couple of big things shaking right now. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We've got people all over South Carolina, Virginia, North Carolina, Omaha, Nebraska, checking in. Down near Austin, Texas, 4 in London, England, and we are pinging in Taiwan right now. Wow. All right. Anyhow, thank you for all you've been with us since day one. Thank you for those that are tuning in for the first time tonight. Glad to have you. Hope you come back soon. That damn bird is still there watching. Anyway, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or listening on BigPatriotRadio.com, be sure to go check us out on our Venmo account. You see there to support the show on the bottom of the screen. Send us some stars on Facebook. We appreciate you helping us out. All right. Last week, the number one song on BigPatriotRadio.com was Bury Me in Georgia by Kane Brown. Bluffton, South Carolina was heads and tails, fingers and feet ahead of anyone else. Number one listening city last week. Moncks Corner, South Carolina, Hilton Head, and then Pooler, Georgia rounded out the top. That'd be the top 4.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
That's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
Don't forget to tune in or to chime in. Hey, Charlotte, you see her there on chat. Tune in with, or why do I keep saying tune in? Obviously, you're tuned in. Chat with us. Let us know what's going on. Good folks, week in and week out. Folks like Charlotte always tuning in with us. We want to hear what's going on with you. Kat, how's it going? Interested in watching tonight there in the chat. We will get to stories here quickly. The first one is probably the barn burner. But do want to let you know about the new advertiser we have on board. Be sure, really important to go check these folks out. Let me throw up their logo. That's skipsdefuskytees.us. Go check out their website right now. Maybe pull it up on your phone, or if you're listening to us on the computer or vice versa. That's skipsdefuskytees.us. Have you heard their ads? They've been all over BigPatriotRadio.com. I mean, like all over. I hear them all the time. Go check them out. skipsdefuskytees.us. They've got an incredible selection from like extra small to 5X for the big boys out there. Themes of Americana, U.S. military, Trump 45, 47, the GOP. Got some shirts taking a few shots, no pun intended, at Iran. There's shirts with the U.S. cabinet members like Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem. I want to say I saw Marco Rubio on there. I'm not even sure now. B-2 stealth bomber, American patriotism, and much more. That is all American stuff. T-shirts made right here in USA, right on Defusky Island. That's skipsdefuskytees.us. You see it there on your screen. 80% of the profits they have pledged. John said, hey, I pledge 80% of the profits that we get off these shirts, we are going to send to GOP re-election campaigns such as Win Red. Those are national, big campaign donation centers, the Win Red. And possibly, they said they may even do some down ballot candidates for some of the folks here in the local area. Check them out today. That is skipsdefuskytees.us. And be sure to let them know that you heard about them right here on BigPatriotRadio.com.
Let's go!
The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right. Thanks again to skipsdefuskytees.us. Chat. Hey, Dan, back again this week. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Now, last week we told you a story about a lawsuit that was filed by Bluffton Town Councilwoman Bridget Frazier against the town of Bluffton. Yeah, that's right. That wasn't a mistake. She's a town councilwoman, and she's suing not only the town that she lives in and represents citizens to, but she's also suing a police officer. She's suing the police chief. Who else is she suing? And the DMV, South Carolina DMV. This lawsuit, which is not sealed, by the way, it's not sealed. We showed it to you on the screen last week. It's public information. And especially when you're a publicly elected official, pretty much nothing is private. Trust me, I've been there and done that. Anyway, it's completely legal and completely public knowledge to show that. We have received hundreds and hundreds of views about this, hundreds and hundreds of playback from all different social media type and platforms. We had messages out the wazoo. And those messages were from folks that went from startled, like, what on earth is this about, to those who know what's going on and were, to be quite honest, for lack of better words, rather pissed off about our locally elected officials yet once again. Well, the story seems to get even deeper, let's say. This week, and let me go ahead and post this up here. So I certainly don't want anybody to say, man, you made that up. Come on, that's not true. That's not true. Well, just to show you that it is true, this week, There we go. There is, let me find that again. Let's do it this way. I want to make sure that you get the full, there we go. All right. So anyway, this week, the Post and Courier reporter Mitchell Black, you see there his name under the headline, Bluffton councilwoman sued her own town over traffic stop while her license was suspended. That is enough to make you go, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? Anyway, Mitchell Black published this just the other day. And ironically, just so you're aware, full disclosure, I reached out to Mr. Black and I said, hey, Mitchell, I'd like for you to come on the show, talk about this article that you wrote and tell us about it. But he declined. So hopefully he's listening. Hopefully he'll come on. We don't typically attack reporters too bad. So we'd love to talk to him. Anyway, this is the article. Let's go through this. And again, this was in the paper, Post and Courier. It was on September 17th, just a couple of days ago. Like, I guess that's yesterday, as a matter of fact. Again, Bluffton councilwoman sued her own town over traffic stop while her license was suspended. Even the most disconnected among us would be like, wait a minute. Fraser's driving record shows that her license was suspended when she submitted the lawsuit, and that was like September 5th. I did have one person today say, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I got the article. So anyway, the article goes on. I'll pull this down. There you see. And that is Ms. Fraser, by the way. I love her glasses. She is known for having very interesting glasses. I don't understand why there's no glass in them. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is here, this article. And, so here's what it says. The reporter went on to say that the South Carolina DMV said that her license was suspended again from August 15th to September 11th because the DMV, could not verify her insurance. It is the law in South Carolina that all drivers must maintain liability insurance on all vehicles registered in the state of South Carolina. Now, according to the South Carolina DMV, they couldn't verify her insurance coverage as of June 17th, 2025. The agency said that they sent a letter to Fraser about it like they do everybody. The letter is also public record, of which the Post and Courier has a copy, asked for and received. We have FOIA'd our own. In the letter, DMV explains to Ms. Fraser that, quote, failing to respond would result in her license and registration's suspension, end quote, just like it would for you and you and you and you. No one is above the law. Now, in Fraser's defense, the reporter did say, he did also say that it is unclear whether Ms. Fraser actually drove her car while her license was suspended or not, in her defense. Reporter Mitchell Black said he reached out to Ms. Fraser for comment, but she did not respond. Interestingly, Mitchell Black, the reporter with Post and Courier, reiterated in his article, as has been said in previous articles and quite frankly on this show multiple times, and we were one of the first, that Ms. Fraser has a long history. Not that she has had a long history. She has a long history. This is irrefutable, not hearsay. This is irrefutable evidence of a long history of driving violations. She has had her license suspended six times in the past decade. That's 10 years, according to the Post and Courier. And all other violations is where she actually failed to pay traffic tickets online. So she's got traffic tickets unpaid on the record, and then violations on the record. 6 times suspension. You have to pay the fine when you get a ticket, or go to court and fight it, and you either win or you lose. That's how this works. Again, let me reiterate, no one is above the law, no matter your title, no matter where you live, no matter where you come from. The holes in the bucket that we all have starts out with no holes. Some of us, as the title said earlier, some of us get a lot of holes in the bucket, and they're hard to plug those holes. You feel me? Anyway, so I ask this question. Is this a case where the councilwoman actually believes she is above the law? I mean, some people have said that. Some have made question. I get it. Does she feel like she is above the law and doesn't have to comply with the laws of the state of South Carolina? These laws right here. This happens to be Title 5 and 6 of the Code of South Carolina. These are the annotated laws that we all have to live by. Does she feel like I don't have to abide by those? Or is this a case of maybe she doesn't understand the law? I don't know. I'm asking. People want to know, do you believe you don't have to abide by the law? You don't have to pay the fines? Or do you not understand the law? I mean, to be fair, does she have the ability to understand and comprehend the driving laws of South Carolina? People want to know. When I was coming up, we had driver's education. You had to sit in this ridiculous class half of the school year, and they get behind the wheel. I mean, it was you just didn't get, now it seems like you turn 16 and you go to, what is it, like 1, 2, 3 drive, or all these really great driving schools. You pay them a couple, $300 or $400. A week later, your kid's got a driver's license. It's what it feels like. I don't know. People want to know, do you understand the driving laws? I mean, vehicles, let me make sure that you all understand this. And I'm sure there's somebody saying, well, you're going a little overboard. Vehicles, cars, trucks, motorcycles, whatever, boats too, they're nothing more than a missile on wheels, or on water, or on rail, whatever. They're missiles on wheels, and it's dangerous out there, folks. I was chatting with someone right before we came on who was talking about he got rear-ended, and he feels like he's taking his life into his hands. He's got 2 brand new babies, and I'm sure the guy and his wife they're like freaked out. They're getting rear-ended. People are on the freaking phones. It's scary out there, and if you've got someone who doesn't understand the driving laws, I mean, do you see where I'm going? This is a problem. We should all feel safe that all citizens, all of us, including our elected officials, we should feel safe that everyone are law-abiding citizens doing their part to create a safe place for us all to thrive and drive. To give you some of the background data on this, as Mitchell Black, the reporter, called it a spurious violation. I haven't heard that word in a while. Spurious, meaning illegitimate. Frazier and her husband filed this lawsuit earlier this month, and that she was wrongfully arrested in March of 2024 after being pulled over for going, by the way, 21 miles over the speed limit. That, in and of itself, ladies and gentlemen, is an arrestable offense. Back in my day, we used to call that, what do they call it? Reckless driving. And you got a reckless driving. I mean, that was bad. Check the chat here real quick. Molly, as an elected official, you'd hope she's smart enough to know the law on traffic. Well, you know what? I never want to say never. I hope she is. I would think she would be, but people have a right to know. I mean, do you think you're above the law, or do you not understand the law? I mean, it's a great question. Her money would be better spent paying her fines instead of a lawyer, Gina. Hey, you know what? That is a valid point. Or after doing that, maybe taking driver's education. That might be a good idea. Janet, hey, how's it going? Or does she doesn't give a shit? I get what you're saying. It makes no sense when she's been notified. And yes, and nobody told me. The only people who say that are the ones, and I'm using this probably out of hand, are the ones who are guilty as hell. I get a notice when I got to pay my car taxes. My wife gets one when she got to pay hers. We get a notice when every other tax bill is due. If I didn't pay my registration, I would be quite sure. I haven't had one in 40 some years, but I'm sure that, the DMV would be, going around. Hello, Mr. Covert, pay your bill. Anyway, that happened in March 2024, 21 miles over the speed limit now. Now, they're suing the town of Bluffton, again, the same town that she sits on the council for, the chief of police, the arresting officer, and DMV, because she says her license was not suspended. See, she was arrested for driving. It's called DUS, driving under suspension, not DUI. Means her license has been suspended, not for a DUI. It wasn't because of that. It was because of something else. And this wasn't the first one she's ever had. They didn't arrest her for the 21 miles over the speed limit, as I can tell, and what I've been told by several people in law enforcement and the legal community. It was strictly because of the driving under suspension. Now, let's separate this. Again, she says her license was not suspended. I'll be the first to say, in separating this, I'll be the first to say, if DMV had not updated their records and was willful and negligent in updating their records and negligent in the activities that led up to Ms. Frazier's arrest, the South Carolina DMV absolutely should be held responsible. I've got absolutely no problem with that. $2 million responsible? I think that's a little, I don't know about that. That seems a little bit frivolous. But anyway, the arresting officer went through, according to everything that has been reported, the arresting officer went through normal protocol when pulling someone over. Again, she was speeding 21 miles over the speed limit, pulled her over like they would me or you. The response is coming back to him, being the Officer Ramirez, from the DMV, were that her license was suspended again for driving under suspensions, not DUI. According to the recent article, the officer contacted the chief of police about how to handle the situation. Speeding with an active DUS suspension. The chief of police said to handle it like you would any other normal stop. And let's think about this. Let's think about this for a minute. Isn't that what any real, honest, integrity-based, and transparent elected official would want? Wouldn't they want that all members of the public are treated evenly, equal, and the same? As a former elected official, that's what I would want. I would not want to be treated any different than my peers. And I would not want my peers to be treated less equal than anyone else, all the same. Or does that not apply to her? Valid question. No one has claimed she tried to use her position as influence. No one said that. I haven't heard that at all. I'm saying, wouldn't you want everyone to be treated the same, including yourself? If the councilwoman believes she represents all of the citizens, and I've heard her say that. I've heard her say out of her mouth years ago with a conversation with me. She said the difference between you and me is you represent one segment of the citizens and I represent them all, which is total horseshit, but I hear her. If you believe, Ms. Fraser, that you represent all of the citizens, shouldn't you be held to the same laws as everyone else? What say you? The question, are you above the law or should you be treated the same as every one of us low-life citizens, is a valid question. Now, she goes on in the suit multiple times, or let me back up. She does say in her lawsuit, and we had that on the screen, by the way, that she proved that her license was valid. But I've yet to hear how she did that. And I would like to hear how she did that, because last I checked, citizens, us normal citizens, we don't have a line to the DMV. So how'd you do that? She goes on in the suit multiple times. She says that she was violated because the arresting officer never read her Miranda rights. Those are the, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you can and say will be used against you in a court of law, blah, 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 blah. Here's a short government lesson, Ms. Fraser, and maybe more importantly to your two attorneys. In South Carolina, you only have to be read your Miranda rights when you have been detained and are being interrogated. That's right. Let's swallow that one again. Let's listen to that one. In South Carolina, you only have to be read your Miranda rights when you have been detained. That's with the handcuffs, and are being interrogated. What does all that mean? Well, she might not have been read them because they didn't have to, according to law. When you're being arrested, that's not being interrogated. You're just being arrested. And anybody, you can be arrested for anything. Being arrested frivolously is one thing. Being arrested without cause is another, and so on and so forth. One interesting claim made by her suit is in line 59. If you get a hold of it, or if you want one, let me know and I'll send it to you. Line 59 is that Bluffton citizens understand this. Line 59 says that Bluffton citizens and others have experienced repeated and recurring violations of their 14th Amendment right of bodily integrity. The 14th Amendment right of bodily integrity. Janet over in chat says, wasn't she in jail for 52 or 57 minutes before the judge's wife got things expedited and she was released? Well, the answer to that story is that what information I have is 72 minutes. And 72 minutes is what I have her length of stay at the detention center. So here's another government history lesson for Ms. Fraser and her attorneys. You know, the 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, granted citizenship to all people born or naturalized in the United States, including formerly enslaved people. Now, the 14th Amendment also extended the Bill of Rights, including equal protection under the law, due process, voting rights, and the right of debt. That's the 14th Amendment. How is any of that violated by being arrested? That makes no sense. And where does bodily integrity, that's what she says in her suit. How was it that, she was, I want to get this straight here, repeated and recurring violations of their 14th Amendment right of bodily integrity. Where does bodily integrity come into any of this? Or does it even have to do with any of this? Due process, voting rights, equal protection, right of debt. What does that have to do with bodily integrity? Anyway, one of the most interesting parts of the suit, and I've talked with several attorneys since our last show. I do anyway, but since the last show, I've talked with a handful. since this has been made public and out in the public, and they've all said how poorly. Now, I've never written as far as all of we here need to know. I've never written a lawsuit or anything like that. How does someone suffer $2 million worth of internal injuries in over an hour? Janet, I don't know. Damn, these are good questions, Janet. How did you come up with such good questions? Because I can't answer those. But it's a damn good question. $2 million worth of internal injuries by being arrested, put in the back of a $50,000 police SUV. I don't know. Damn it, I want to know. Anyway, these lawyers that I talked to all have said how piss poor of a job this suit is written with respect to how this has damaged the councilwoman. These lawsuits are pretty much boilerplate, and then they'll fill in the blanks to the, calls of action, 1 through any number of causes of action, and then they fill in the blanks and all. It's a boilerplate, but there's the gravity of, or the essence of the suit of each of these causes of action has, in their opinion, said that this was some of not the greatest writing, if you will, in a lawsuit. So according to the suit, she was internally injured. I'm not sure what that is. Kat, are you reading? Are you in here? Are you that bird? How was she injured internally? I know. I don't know. I'd love to know it, but we'll get on to that here in a second. But according to the suit, she was internally injured. But hear this. She is also stating she's incapable or unable to perform her duties as a wife. She claims she is incapable or unable to perform her duties as a wife in multiple places in this suit. Multiple places. She cannot perform her wifely duties. No, Ashley, good to see you. No, I do not. From what I understand, they left the scene of the arrest and went to the pokey, and then that was it. I've never seen anyone say she was taken to the hospital, henceforth gone to the hospital, or anything like that. That's possible. Charlotte, I would like to. Police are treating people badly. The public should know. I would think. I would think too. That's a good point. So, good point, Gina. And I'll tell you who they are here in a little bit. Just remind me. I'll tell you who her attorneys are. Anyway, she cannot perform and is incapable of performing her duties as a wife. Now, those were defined in the lawsuit. They actually went ahead and defined what those duties that she is incapable and unable now, and even says in the future. Those are defined in the suit as assisting in maintaining the home, providing love and companionship, providing affection and sexual relations, moral support, and solace. Really? And it goes on to say she won't be able to perform those things in the future. Really? That's way too much. Way too much. Way too much. I don't know. But I do know that people should be careful when filing lawsuits. I'm not saying this is frivolous. Not saying it at all. I'm just stating the fact that people should be careful when filing lawsuits if found to be frivolous or vexatious. Vexatious is a lovely legal term that many lawyer friends of mine like to use as being nefarious and frivolous. Being vexatious or frivolous could end up being extremely costly for the lawyers and the plaintiff, not to mention highly embarrassing and possibly legally damning, if you will. Gina, you'd like to see the video at the booking? You know what? I have not asked for that. That would be interesting. It should be. I think that should be able to be FOIA'd, filed for under the Freedom of Information Act. Certainly we can do that to the detention center in Beaufort County. They're the ones that run the desk, if you will, the jail. Yes, Janet, she's been able to open and oversee her restaurant. I'm going to go into that, and she's all over social media. That's right. She's not unable to do that. She just can't assist in the house and loving her husband and sexual relations with him and whatever else is in there. I don't know, Helga. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. I've heard people say when they got to jail, they were strip searched. I do not know if she was or not. Could not tell you. Anyway, any hootie. Frazier, as you were just saying, she must not be too badly injured, as she did celebrate the grand opening of this extravagantly, this plot, new restaurant. She also celebrated this grand celebration deal of her birthday, which I mean, I don't begrudge that. And that was all over social media, as Janet had mentioned. It was all over social media. The birthday celebration looked like this grand staircase in the restaurant. I mean, exceptionally well, beautiful place. Speaking of, I still haven't seen any of the materials that we reported on that they were supposed to save. I don't see any in there, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, we wish her well in her recovery of whatever her internal injuries and whatever all that is. We wish her well. The state IRF fund has a $1 million cap on it, as I understand. There's a $1 million cap. So the other 1 million, you see, this was turned over by the town of Bluffton. They turned it over to the state. From the reports that I got, she asked for $1 million for the town of Bluffton. They I don't want to say ignored her, but they washed their hands of it, turned it over to the state. She filed the suit for $2 million. See, she didn't file a suit the first time. She just said, I'm looking for $1 million. I'm paraphrasing. Town did not move forward. She said, if you don't, I'm going to sue you for $2 million. So she sued for $2 million. The state IRF fund will cover $1 million. So the other $1 million, and all of us who pay taxes, no matter if you live here or you visit here or you drive through here, if you buy anything and pay tax anywhere, you are going to be on the what's the word I'm looking for? On the hook. You're on the hook for the other $1 million. If it's so awarded, that's going to be handled by taxpayer dollars. Again, if that were to be awarded. So this story is like far from over. Stay tuned for more on that as these holes in this bucket
Let's go!
The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right, before we get to our next story, it is about 5 minutes before the top of the hour here at Beaufort County's House of Cards and BigPatriotRadio.com. From the chat, let's give her a benefit of the doubt moment. Okay, I'm cool. Let's go. Given the poor quality of writing done by her lawyers, is it possible that they're making an effort to use the term internally injured when in essence they're going to come back later and claim a, quote, mental health episode as an internal injury? Quite a stretch. I'm with you. But given the inability for moderately to well-read individuals to decipher things, perhaps we need to dumb it down and figure it out. I couldn't. Thanks for listening tonight, folks. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, let's give her the benefit of the doubt moment. It is poorly done. Other lawyers have commented on that. Are they stretching for a mental health, episode, as you say? I understand. I think, I would imagine there are people that are watching her. Well, matter of fact, I know there are watching her very closely. She seems pretty fit and, whatever, with her restaurant. Things are moving right along there. Mental health episodes don't happen only at the preferred times, that usually is that doesn't matter the time frame. If you have gone off the edge, it's not deterrent on whether it's good or bad time for you. So is it a stretch? I don't know. That stranger things have happened. I mean, they're claiming she can't have sex anymore because of this internal injury and can't help clean the house or paint or do the dishes or love or provide solace to her husband. And I don't know. But it's a great question. Great question. Love to hear from you on that. Last week, we told you last week about County Councilman, excuse me, parched. And I start now. I can't see the bird. And I'm a little freaked out. We told you about County Councilman Tom Reitz, the issue going on right now. Well, not just now. It's been like 3 weeks or so now, where he was served a warrant and had to turn over his personal cell phone and his county issued cell phone to the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. Get this, in the parking lot of the Java Burrito on Hilton Head Island. Why? Well, apparently, he is being investigated for bringing in contraband into the Beaufort jail over at the detention center. And that's what we're being told. Now, tonight, there is a chat with counsel going on. I think it may have just ended. I was hoping that we could have put that on in the background, but we didn't get the link up for that. We were hoping to show it live in the background as we were talking. Anyway, in summary, what does all this mean? I mean, this is excuse me, this is pretty important and has the possibility of being, as a matter of fact, probably one of the largest stories that we will have had in quite a while. Tom Reitz went to the jail to visit an inmate at the request of the inmate's wife to check on him and get a list of medications he needed. This guy's elderly, during his 15-day stay there at the detention center. We asked the questions, and these are questions, mind you. And I need you, for those of you that have been watching this forever, you understand how I roll. The way I will use words to mean certain things in a certain context. To be able to deliver to you the truth, you just need to read between the lines and pay attention to where I'm going. So we asked the questions last week on this show. We know that there were people from the jail watching, the people from the county administration, county council members. We know the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office had people watching. Everyone that needed to watch was watching. We asked the questions last week, such as these. Did Tom Reitz, county councilman, go in the front door, or did he go in the back door or the side door? Answer, he went in the front door. Important. That's very important. We asked, did the guards run him through the metal detector? We asked, did the guards wand him like at the airport? We asked, did the guard or guards take any of his personal belongings? Answer, yes. They took his backpack. Tom carries a backpack. They put it in the guard station behind the glass and not in a secured locker. We know that answer. We asked, did the guards ask him to empty his pockets and leave everything, including cell phones, screwdrivers, money, knives, stakes, bombs, anything like that? We asked, did the guard or guards give Reitz a set of keys, door keys, to open the doors to the jail, the internal doors to the jail, and let himself in? That's right. We asked that question. Did the guards or guard give him a set of keys to open doors internal of the jail? We asked, did the guards let Tom Reitz walk alone into the jail and sit and chat with that inmate alone in a room? We asked, did the guards allow Reitz to walk freely and enter the cell of the inmate? Did they do that? We also asked, did Tom Reitz walk out of the jail and see the detention center colonel and the assistant county administrator Robinson standing there talking? Answer, yes, he did. We asked, did ACA Robinson ask Tom Reitz what he was doing there? We asked, did Tom Reitz say, hold on a minute, to ACA Robinson, look over at the guard station who took his backpack and ask him for it back again? Again, not in a secured locker, but in the guard station. Answer, yes. We asked, did Assistant County Administrator Robinson call or see Chairwoman Alice Howard and Vice Chairwoman Anna Taberdick and tell them to contact the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office and file a report? We asked, has anyone investigated the multiple guards who may have failed at their jobs time and time and time again in this matter? We asked last week, has anyone investigated and possibly suspended the colonel of the detention center for failure to possibly not train the employees properly? We asked last week, if this has happened to Tom Reitz, who else have they allowed inside the jail completely against every rule in the book? We're asking now. We're asking now, and this isn't a setup, or is it? We're asking now, this isn't a setup, or is it? It's not a setup against an elected official who has called the county administrator and the assistant county administrator to step in line several times on how county business is run, is it? Surely it's not. We're now asking, why did it take 2 weeks and this show last week for Tom Reitz to get any kind of county phone back so he can answer to his constituents, actually do the job that 11 to 14,000 people put him in office for? He hasn't been able to do his job because the county sheriff's department has had his phone for 2 weeks. It took 2 weeks and us to really rant and rave for the county not to give him his phone back, to give him, I'm going to call it a burner phone. We're now asking, Beaufort County Sheriff's Department, in today's technology, a cell phone, we know a cell phone can be completely downloaded and every document saved and every what do you call it, finger types, whatever, the placement of where you've been, all that data that can be done within a matter of hours. Our technology is so hot. Why does the sheriff's office still have Tom Reitz's personal and county cell phones? Why? 2-3 weeks now. The technology is there. What have you been doing? Now we talk about intent. Intent is important. Was Tom Reitz, or rather, what was Tom Reitz's intent going into the jail? I mean, was his intent to sneak in drugs, guns, phones, bombs, switchblades, etc.? No, of course not. It was at the request of an elderly inmate's wife who knew he had to get medication, and no one, for reasons we don't know, apparently, would help him or her out about it. She felt he was on his deathbed because of his age and not getting this medication. Should he have known that you can't take a phone into the jail? To me, that answer is an obvious yes. And I know to Tom now that answer is an obvious yes. But Tom Reitz is not the kind of guy who, in quote unquote, is not a he's not a street smart kind of guy. He doesn't give off that aura. Nothing negative against Tom. That's not a negative. That's, if anything, that is the complete opposite of being negative. It's just who he is. He's a hell of a nice guy. He's a good person. I will bet you, and I've said this before, I'll bet you good money, hard money, that prior to coming on to county council, Reitz probably, more than likely, has never seen the inside of a jail, much less go into one unattended. Now, when you get on county council, one of the things that you do typically is take a tour of county facilities. The detention center is one of them. I went through there. It's a nasty shithole. It's a pigsty. It's disgusting. The intent is clear in this. There was nothing but the intent to help someone. Is he guilty of trying to help someone? Absolutely. Is it contraband? Really? Really? We've got people that have been sitting in that jail for 3 years waiting to go on double murder trials. And instead of actually working on crimes, we're investigating the possibility of a cell phone inside the jail when we don't know the answer to these questions. But was he given the friggin' key in there on his own? I don't know. The intent is clear. There was no intent of malice. The real question is, why did the guard, or any of the guards, ask him if he had why did they not ask him if he had a cell phone? Why did they not wand him? Or better yet, why did they not walk him through a metal detector? Why? The other real question is, why did any of the guards say to him, hey, why are you back here? Or how'd you get in here, buddy? Yet no one did they? All those guards, and nobody said, how'd you get back here? Doesn't carry a gun, doesn't carry a billy club, isn't wearing a shirt with a detention center patch, doesn't have a whistle, whatever else they wear. Quite the opposite. Nobody asked, hey, how'd you get back here? What are you doing? And the biggest problem of this entire thing, and please, Beaufort County, really, you need to answer this. The biggest question is, nobody gave Tom Reitz keys to go through those doors, did they? Did they? That is question number one for me. I know the answer to that question. And I think Beaufort County knows the answer. So come on, guys, gals, come clean. Just like you screwed up with the HSB report, I told you then that the citizens can handle bad news. Lord knows, in this county, we've had bad news a lot. We can handle it if you don't try to screw us over. When you try to shove it up our ass by secret, we get a little upset. And we should. Who did that? Who's responsible for this? And have they been terminated? And why haven't they? For nothing less than the safety of the general public. Why? So why is Councilman Tom Reitz still under, I'm assuming, under the apparent microscope of contraband, under the microscope, worried, is he going to be arrested? We're going to now be turning our focus and our attention to the Beaufort County Sheriff's Department tomorrow and search for answers for that. In other words, what the hell are you doing? Why are we at week 3 and he doesn't have his phones back? You served a warrant in the parking lot of the Java Burrito on a county councilman that has that bird sitting there on that bench has more intent to harm than Tom Reitz. I guarantee it. I mean, this has the possibility. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. Don't believe me if you want to. I could care less. This has the possibility, and it's beginning to get the looks of the biggest scandal to run through this county in a long, long time. I said then, I say it now, this could be bigger than Murdoch minus the murders. When you look at everything involved and every party involved, and let me tell you, I'm only giving you the surface of this. This thing has got like veins and arteries of people that are involved. That is just shocking. Let's check out some of the chat we have here. We're about 10 minutes after the top of the hour. It's been a while since I visited someone in jail. They make you empty pockets and had a dress code of sorts and said nothing can go in. Has this changed? Charlotte, you know, from what I understand, and I'm not a frequent visitor of the jail, but again, after being in county council and going into the inside, that's the only time I've been on the inside, and then having gone to visit, what you're saying is true. There is a process that people have to go through. As Janet says, that is still done, but in this instance, why? Hey, Shannon. Now, Shannon in chat says she doesn't take up for the county, but the colonel can't help if she trained an employee and they failed. That happens. I know she trains her employees. Well, you know, I understand that. And however, the buck stops with her or him, whoever is the head at the time. Right now, it is her, Colonel Grant. And if her employees aren't doing the job, and this isn't one employee, this isn't two employees, this isn't three employees, this is multiple employees, there is a responsibility that she has. It is the buck stops with her inside the walls of that jail. If those employees are not performing properly, then whomever is training them is responsible, and whoever trains them, it all shit flows downhill. Hot's on the left, cold's on the right, and shit always flows downhill. It stops right there with Colonel Grant. Now, if you want to go further, yes, Assistant County Administrator John Robinson, who is in charge of public safety, that's in his purview. Yes, they work for him, and he works for Mike Moore. So it is a snowball of responsibility, and she shouldn't be suspended. Well, you know, I happen to disagree with that when it comes to public safety. If there was wanton disregard for rules and regulations through an investigation, obviously, I would, if I was on council, I would be saying she needs to be suspended until further investigation. I have, without question, knowing how the inside of that works, without question, there needs to be an immediate investigation. I certainly hope our sheriff, and now, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, the sheriff's department has nothing to do with the jail. They don't run it. They don't operate it. They are a separate entity. The jail is run by the county administration, period. Who investigates there? I would assume the county would, at the sheriff's department, and somehow the 14th solicitor would be involved. I'm not sure how all that works, but let me tell you, they are all involved, and the process goes on. John Robinson, that is the assistant county administrator. Well, you bring up a good point, and maybe we'll dig into him sometime soon. All very good points, but that's where we are unfortunately, with Tom Reitz, and that's the crux of the matter. Is an innocent man with the intent of a servant's heart is being just railroaded, in my opinion. And we need answers, and we need them now.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
All right, we are coming out of turn 4. Last story. We've been watching something, and we're going to get we're looking for more data points on this, but I want to go ahead and get this story out here. This is the perception that the Beaufort County Treasurer, Maria Walls, the auditor, the assessor, the county administration, they got this little tuffle going on. You may recall that Walz and the county have been in the news together for multiple years now, and it hasn't been a love affair. It's been a divorce, so to speak. She filed suit against the former auditor, Jim Beckert. She filed suit against the county council. She filed suit against the county. There may have been others involved. I really don't remember. While what we are talking about now has nothing to do with that, as far as I'm aware. I hope it doesn't. We hope, again, that it doesn't. It is good for context that when it comes to the treasurer and the county, there indeed is some kind of animosity going on, and those wounds have never healed. That has been visually seen over the past few months or so when there has been, in multiple times, open session of county council. One or more parties is needing either to buy things or contract for things, maybe change or alter the way something is done, procurement issues. I mean, whatever. It's in those offices, assessor, auditor, treasurer. There are three separate offices, okay? So, and I'll tell you about those in a minute, but what happened recently is that, and now what I'm going to tell you is our understanding, mine and the researchers. That's what our understanding is that we've reached out to the treasurer, emailed and texted, phone, but won't return my emails, won't return my text, will not answer the phone call. Zero reply. I know it's the right number. I've gone to other departments and asked them, hey, have you got the treasurer's cell phone? It's the same one. Not a yes, not a no. Will you talk to me? Not a yes, not a no, not a kiss my ass, nothing. And quite frankly, that's rude. That's plain out friggin' rude. Anyhow, as we understand it, what's going on now is there is a need for printing software, printing files, the print. And in the world of big county business and big printing, I mean, we're talking of tax bills, tax notices, assessment notices, all that stuff. And this isn't something that you do like on a regular office printer. It's not even what you do on like the big office printers, the big mamas. For Beaufort County, and I'm not sure the total cost per year, but easily we're at $500,000. Easily, just for those three departments. That's just to print shit. Now, remember, the treasurer, she's an elected official. The auditor, he's an elected official. The assessor is an appointed official hired by the county administrator. Major conflict on differing levels. They have to work together. That's how the process of taxation works. Major conflict on different levels. So how we understand it, every elected official, and hey, for those that are watching, if I know she's not watching, but if the auditor is, or the assessor, or the whoever, whatever, if you're watching and you know better, just tell me. Here's what we understand. Every elected official has the right to do business as they want, but must adhere to the county procurement codes, even though the county doesn't adhere to them, in process or in practice. In this situation, the treasurer wanted to have her own RFP, which is a request for proposal for printing services. She asked Dave Thomas, the procurement director, who I'm surprised is still there, and his staff to get the ball rolling on or about September 5th this year. 5 days later, the deputy treasurer checked in and was told, hey, no one's been trained yet. What are we doing? They expedited it for that same day training. And just a side note, from what I read, it seems like Dave Thomas, procurement director, his office, it looks like he dropped the ball. But whatever. Anyhow, the procurement director, Dave Thomas, advised the auditor, David Cadd, and his office, and the assessor, Ebony Saunders' offices, that should be included. He advised to the treasurer that they should be included in this training and the RFP process. Immediately, Maria Walz fired back through email that if Thomas wanted to train other departments on the product service, so be it, But if they need print services, they need to do their own RFP. And she was adamant that no one outside of her office will be a part of the selection committee. That's part of the process. They have this committee. Now, again, maybe you can read emails wrong, but it was quite rude. So their little tit for tat went on for the remainder of that day, which was 10 September, when at about 1:10 p.m., Walls reminded Thomas that she and her office were not open to a joint RFP. Kind of like, I've been telling you this all day long. And then, by the way, I'm telling you again, we're not open to an RFP together. Now, there's a ton of history here. Fingers are getting pointed everywhere. It's his fault, her fault, their fault, our fault, not my fault. I can tell you that Beaufort County Procurement Ordinance stipulates that all elected officials must go through the procurement process for all contracts. That's county council, auditor, treasurer, sheriff, coroner, clerk of court, probate court. If you're elected, you have to go through the procurement process for contracts. This includes committees of the whole for proper vetting and for transparency. Now, this has the smell that the treasurer does not want to go through the committee process with the others. But why is that? I mean, I would love to hear her say, well, that's not true. I'd love to go through with them, because the next question is, well, then why are you so adamant about them not being a part of it? So why is that? Well, the only thing I can come up with is that you won't have total control if you have to have someone else on the selection committee other than your own department, which you run. If you have to have part of the auditor's office and the assessor's office, you can't have total control. That's why I wish you would accept the request to talk about it so we can talk about it and understand what's going on. So, on the same line of friction, there was some friction between the county and these three offices a few months ago or so, maybe a month or maybe a couple months, for a while on, I believe it was hiring a software vendor, if memory serves me right. And that software for those three departments, it's perfunctory for the county: assessing, auditing, and treasurer. Okay, the three taxation areas. The three offices were supposed to be part of the committee, so to speak, the selection. But again, this is as we understand it. The treasurer's office didn't show up to vote on the vendor. So this became a fracas, and it went from there, and they got in front of county council, and it was this big argument, and everybody pointing the fingers. It was so embarrassing to like anybody over fifth grade. And they said, well, this is going to continue into perpetuity, because if we let you, Miss Treasurer, run the thing, and you and the, let's just say, for example, the assessor show up, but the auditor doesn't show up, you can't take a vote because he wasn't there. Because she's saying, well, because I wasn't there, only the auditor and the assessor, it's not fair. This could go on in perpetuity. It's a circle jerk. If one of the three doesn't show up, said, this week, next week, they can cry like babies the next week, and it's going to start all over again. So, I talked to a couple, and I said, what is the freaking deal here? I mean, anytime I have ever needed any information regarding what the auditor did, or is supposed to do, I've gotten everything answered. Used to be that way for the treasurer's office, but apparently not so any longer. I can only assume. Former auditor, didn't really care much for him. If I had a question as a county councilman, I went to him, asked, got my answer, whether I liked it or not, story over. Current auditor, I think he is awesome. If I have a question, I ask him, he gives me the answer. I might not like it. I may like it. It doesn't really matter, but the story is over. I haven't had to ask the assessor other than in email over a personal thing, and was explained 100%. Boom. Over. But now we have what looks to be the spoiled little child can't get along. So we're going to keep digging into that. We're going to find out some answers. And if you happen to see our wonderful treasurer who's done a fantastic job, let her know. I'd love to have her on here, and she can quit, ignoring me, and let's talk about it. We plan on having the auditor on sometime as we muddle through this, the saga of Beaufort County.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
That's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, tune in next week, ladies and gentlemen. Tell your friends about it next week. Tell your friends, your neighbors, and your friends' neighbors. 7 o'clock next Thursday night here on Facebook, YouTube, and BigPatriotRadio.com. It's going to simulcast live. Don't forget to like this show, whatever you're on, like it, share it. Tell us where you're calling in from, or where you're watching from, rather, in the chat room before you sign off. If you want to help us out, subscribe to our Patreon channel or send us some stars through Facebook. We're getting close to those 2,500 stars each and every week. I want to appreciate, again, all of our researchers for helping us out. We are going to see you again next Thursday night. It'll be the 25th of September, ending the month out on a high note. We'll see what's going on. Until then, everyone, be safe and watch your six.